From an ice cream boat to a clam's foot, we're gonna take a look at a bunch of different things I found around the world on today's Interesting Things. Coming up first is this ice cream boat that I found where people can buy ice cream and then eat it while they're swimming around in the water. Now, I had a few questions when I first watched this video, like, how are people paying for this unless they have tap with their phone? Because paper money would just disintegrate if you brought it into the water, and debit cards are not really a thing you would put in your swim trunks. And another question I had was, how are people disposing of the wrappers? Because I couldn't see any floating trash bins around there. Maybe the guy that's selling them just takes all the garbage from them. Or maybe I'm just being hopeful. I was kind of assuming at first that the guy selling them would take the wrapper off before handing it to the people, but I guess that's not the case here. Most plastic wrappers like this are made out of polypropylene, which takes around 500 years to start breaking down, even in the ocean. I think it's kind of funny thinking about how some people probably had to swim back to the shore, grab some money, and then come back just to pay for it. Also, I wonder how many popsicle sticks are just floating near the shoreline there. And next we're taking a look at Rick Charles High Dive, who set a record in 1983, which remains unbroken to this day. Now, you might at first be thinking, this can't be that high up in the air, but just wait for the full zoom out, and you'll be really impressed. He jumped off the platform from 172 feet in the air in front of spectators at SeaWorld. His body hit the water at 72 miles an hour and experienced a crushing 10 Gs of force. Now, physicists and doctors did say that it was impossible for the human body to experience these forces without sustaining some sort of serious injury. And until this day, their assumptions were correct, as many divers have attempted this same feat and have been critically injured. Now, the important part here is Rick's technique, where he was able to hit the surface of the water with perfect form and swim back up to the surface completely unscathed. Now, like I said, this record is still unbroken, although it has been tied by Rick Winters, which is really impressive. Did you see how big that splash was? We're gonna have to deduct some points for that one. And coming up next, we're taking a look at this car that has a dedicated spot for lip balm in the center console. When I first looked at this, I didn't actually think that word said pens. Did you think the same thing? Oh no! Now, the spot beside the lip balm that holds pens makes a lot of sense, but what interior designer thought that it would be really useful to have a spot for lip balm? Now, I thought it was kind of funny and maybe a little interesting, but I actually have the exact same Burt's Bees lip balm. I use it all the time. Now, I was reading through some of the comments and people made a good point saying that if it's in a really hot climate, the lip balm would just melt into a horizontal stick when you needed it. Now, this one spot here at the bottom does say it's for cards, but who carries cards nowadays? I'd probably just end up keeping my PSA 10 Charizard in there instead. I think I might go the rest of my life without actually seeing a card that has this feature in it, and now I kind of want it even though I'd never use it. Next, we're gonna be taking a look at this amazing carom trick shot. That first shot was really smooth. Look at how perfectly it follows this diagonal line that's on the table. If I was playing against this person online, I would 100% immediately assume that they're cheating. Each one of these shots were so perfectly executed. I'm really impressed. When I was first watching this, I thought this was surely the inspiration for the game Pool, but looking into it further, it's not actually the case. Modern Pool, like you know it as today, evolved from 15th century outdoor lawn games, which I thought was really interesting. Now, I can see how a game like this would have a low barrier to entry because all you really need is your fingers to play the game, but an incredibly high skill gap as you get into the better players that can actually play it. I was wondering how they got the surface to be so incredibly smooth because the pieces just seem to glide across the table, kind of almost like an air hockey table. Air hockey uses small vents in the table to keep the pieces is kind of floating on its surface, but they wouldn't have had that kind of technology back then, so how did they do it? From what I could find, it's a really smooth surface, and also they put a fine powder on the table, which helps things to glide over top of it smoothly. Now, this actually looks pretty fun. Do you think you'd want to play a game like this? Let me know in the comments. And also, make sure to like and subscribe. And coming up next, someone managed to balance these rocks in the middle of a fast-flowing river. When I first see something like this, I always assume people are just gluing these pieces together, but there's some really talented people out there that can understand the balance of things just by looking at it, and I'm sure after a little bit of time they were able to make something like this. Now, this is a pretty clear sign that the Adderall's definitely working. Now, while I was looking into this, some people actually really hate something like this, and they think that you should leave no trace behind. So what do you think? Should people disassemble this after they've taken a few photos, or is it okay to leave it up after you've finished? And next, this Belgian student found 49 gold bars worth $10 million while digging and handed them over to authorities. While reading through an article, it says here that the student was doing a summer construction job for a sewer and came across the stash on an early Tuesday morning. Now, this person's name is Kobe, and they were 18 when they found this, and they thought they noticed some €1 coins just laying in the dirt. And he continued to dig and found a number of gold bullion bars and coins. Now, the student decided to withhold his last name from the press for his own safety, and I can only agree that that was a good choice. He made the discovery around 8:15 a.m. on a regular Tuesday morning, and that's when he contacted authorities. Now, there's a debate online whether or not he should have sold it instead of handing it over to the authorities. And people are saying online that because he didn't sell it, he can now continue to be a hardworking member of society for the rest of his life. So what would have you done? Would you end up keeping a few bars for yourself, or would you hand it all over to the authorities? Next, we're talking about a clam's foot. Did you know that clams have something that they call a foot?
Oh my gosh! What's that?
Now, all joking aside, I didn't actually know what clams use their feet for, so I looked it up. Now, clams use their muscular, tongue-shaped foot to dig into the sand or mud, and they'll also use it to anchor themselves in place so that they're not washed away by waves. And they'll also use the foot to pull its shell forward to crawl along the seafloor. Now, did you know these short tunnels along mountainsides are actually called rock sheds?
哦，差点 GG！ 啊！哎，不是吧？
While driving along, this person noticed a lot of debris starting to come down the mountainside, so they decided to take shelter in this rock shed. And that's when a lot of rocks started to fall down the face of the mountain, and I've got a new fear unlocked. And this video comes from Taiwan. Now, this tunnel, I feel, should be a little bit longer so that more cars could get underneath it, although that might make it too heavy if enough rocks get on top of it. I feel like there should be more of these because that tunnel honestly just doesn't look long enough in my opinion. Next, check out this forest being refracted through a drop of water. Now, this is a really beautiful photo, and if you're wondering, yes, the photo has been flipped upside down. I managed to find the original high quality image, and we'll take a zoom in to see how detailed it is. Now, this is really interesting. It's like the whole forest is contained in that single water drop. Next, we're gonna take a listen to the silent and harmonious morning metro commute in Japan. I wonder how many of them are listening to Hatsume Miku in their headphones. If I were to imagine what that would sound like here, it would be a lot of people listening to music from their speakers and a lot of people on phone calls. I thought this was really interesting. Japan really does have a culture all on its own. Next, we're taking a look at this short clip of a baby cuttlefish attempting its first camouflage. The way it throws the little grains on top of itself at the end with these two little arms, it's so cute. I love love it. And it's really interesting to think about how these instincts are just passed on genetically. Like, they're just born knowing how to do stuff like this. Really cool. Next, we're taking a look at this video from the Titanic Museum, and it shows how cold the water was to the victims of the Titanic accident.
You're done?
Yeah.
That was enough?
Yeah. Want some again?
Oh my goodness, that's kind of like a burning sensation. I'm dead.
You're done? You're done? Oh my god. I don't know.
Oh my god. Like, is there a point where this becomes dangerous and like people have to pull their hands
Yeah.
out?
No, for 2 minutes.
Oh my
2 minutes.
And you only got a minute and a half left.
That's like a $500 thing.
So mean. Oh my god. Oh my god.
You're doing great.
Oh my god.
The temperature of the water here is 28 degrees Fahrenheit or -2 degrees Celsius. Now, a lot of people act really tough like something like this wouldn't affect them, but until you get your hand in that water, you really don't know how you'd react. And that one guy realizing that he would be dead if he got caught in that water was really real. And next, did you know that giraffes have no way of really hiding from storms, and they just kind of have to wait it out like this? I never realized they couldn't just go down to the ground because that would end up making them vulnerable to certain predators. And next you can see a bunch of semi-trucks taking a nap here. Aww. Now they may also be laying down to avoid the rain, unlike those giraffes. And next, this video comes from Milan, where people are spray painting pickpockets so that everybody can identify them.
Pickpocket! Ladri! Pickpocket! Ladri! Pickpocket! Oh no! Dame la portafolio!
Now, pickpocketing is really common in some parts of the world, and even if you have a anti-theft backpack, you'll still feel people tugging along the zipper just to try to get it open. So what do you think? Is this an effective way to let other people know that these people are pickpockets? Alright, and the green screen comes off. That's gonna be it for this video. If you really liked it, then make sure you like and subscribe. And also, it would mean a lot if you could leave a comment down below as well, as it will really help the future of my channel. I'm gonna try to make longer form videos like this at least once a week, so if you found this interesting, then I'll see you in the next one. And if you liked this video, then make sure to go check out this video next. I want to thank you for your time, and take care, everybody!